I was a little hesitant to get into details of it because, again, if you haven't done it, it's very hard to relate. And I also don't want to scare anyone off. Like, obviously, what I presented, like, that was some wild shit. But I think the main takeaway is, like, if someone's like, knowing what you know now, would you do it all over again? It's 100% yes. If you had asked me that 10 minutes after the ceremony in the first one, I would have been like 100% no. But you get perspective, you get some retrospect, and it does. You walk out of it, and I think it's such a better state. And I just want to, even though like they're not, of course, paying me to say this, and I don't even know if they'll listen, but I really want to thank One Retreats. They're down in Jamaica. Kevin, V, Abby, Ariel, Patrice, true professionals down there. The curriculum they had. The whole day was planned out, but it was all the right stuff, man. It was all working on your mental health and journaling and yoga and sound baths and massages. And it's right on the ocean, right on the water in Jamaica. You got the ocean breeze. It was just, such a peaceful environment that they were creating because they know you might be going into a storm, right? And then they need that the setting is so important, as you know. What they're doing down there, I just think they're true healers. That they had a group right before us that was all parents who had lost a child. You know what I mean? And I had asked them, like, hey, how different is it when like a group of SEALs come down here versus like other groups? And I was kind of expecting them to say like, yeah, you guys are carrying way heavier shit, and you guys is like your ceremonies are way wilder. And the answer was kind of like, all right, everyone's coming down here for a reason. And then they gave that example of the group before, and imagine that experience and that purge, but also the same thing, that bond with you, a bunch of random parents that don't know each other. Only they can relate to that trauma, right? And they're down there getting into some deep work and deep healing together. I mean, you leave there 6 days later, imagine how they all felt about each other, right? So I can't thank them enough. And, for anyone looking to explore plant medicine, obviously there's a lot of stuff out there. Just be careful with what you get into. There's probably a lot of cowboy shit popping up. So make sure it's a place that's legit and, doing it the right way and doing it safely. And I think this is going to become more mainstream in the U.S. here pretty soon. Right now, you kind of got to go abroad to do it. But Tony, I appreciate you nudging me in that direction. It's funny. Like, again, I never in a million years would I think I'm the guy going down to do.
I didn't think
and
that
honestly,
either.
like I'll admit, growing up, like you get into high school, people start screwing around with mushrooms and stuff like that, and I always thought that was like so despicable. I was like, these hippies going to Grateful Dead concerts and taking mushrooms. Like, I'm playing football, I'm drinking protein. You know what I mean? I definitely, like, in that phase of my life, definitely look down on it as you guys are like morally corrupt and like, you know what I mean? You shouldn't be running around drinking alcohol when you're 16 and taking mushrooms and going to concerts and stuff. Now, I think the recreational side, I'm still like, it is what it is, but I definitely see it in a way different light than I do now because I realize this is a plant. You're not taking heroin, you know what I mean? It's people have been doing it for thousands of years, and it does allow you to access that subconscious in a way that I think the plant exists for that reason, right? And it's not like you're going to get addicted to it and, oh my God, I need to have mushrooms tomorrow. It's actually kind of the opposite. I'm like
the complete opposite.
I am good
for a year.
Yeah. They're like, yeah. I'm like, no, I'm good, guys. Like I'm solid. You don't have to worry about me. I'm not going to be a repeat offender. You probably have to convince me to come back, but thanks. Just a totally different perspective on it. And I, we talk about agency and taking control of your life. In the nutrition episode, we talked about this. Is like, if you feel like you're in a rut or you just can't get out of the same thought patterns, or you just need to shake things up a little bit, depending on where you are and what your circumstances are, this might be something to kind of consider. And it's going to take some courage, and you know what I mean? It's going to take some commitment. But if you've been trying therapy and cold tubs and saunas and all these other things, and you're kind of like, man, I still feel kind of the same, this is a way to maybe put that on warp speed, and maybe get you to the place that you've, really trying to get to. So I really encourage it. And Tony, I appreciate you leading me down that path. And I think there's probably, a time for me in the future where I'll get back into it. But as you kind of said, not to be too woo-woo, but the medicine will find a way to kind of call you. You know what I mean? You're not going to seek it out and be like, oh, well, I need to do one a year just to like check the box. Something will probably happen in my life where I get called to do maybe ayahuasca or, maybe ibogaine if we want to really send it. But I'm grateful for the experience. And if I never do it again, I'm totally fine with that. And I'll take the lessons learned and try to implement them the best I can.